Dubbed out and reggae flavored to hell, here's my review of Laika Come Home. Remixed vocals against dub drums and horns, mixed with some atmospheric echoing sounds and nice keys. The Spacemonkeyz really made this track a whole new beast with the vocal samples being spread out and spacey. Pretty cool opener. A reggae dubbed remix of Slow Country with additional vocals by reggae DJ U Brown. This doesn't even sound remotely similar to the original track, and that's not a bad thing. Chilled out, spaced out, and kinda wild sounding with U Brown's random vocalizations, 2D crooning and giving airy vocal samples in the background along with the horns. Yeah, we smoking that good shit to this one. Another nice sounding track. A more slower sounding, spaced out version of Tomorrow Comes Today. I don't know how that was possible considering the original was already spacey sounding, but here we are. The melodica beat playing in the background, 2D's vocalizations, horns jamming on the track halfway in. It definitely has that futuristic, urban, spacey vibe that you would hear in the late 90s to early 2000s. This one is definitely the one to put on when you want to space out and just chill. I wouldn't have been surprised to hear this on the original release of their self-titled. It fits so well and is definitely one of my favorite tracks on here. They really love to make these songs sound even more spaced out than the original tracks, cause damn, this shit is wild from the first drop. Sounding like a hazy dreamscape, the first thing that caught me was the chilled out drumming again, and the keys playing this futuristic sounding background piece that complements the mood nicely. A nice melodica line that's played throughout to chill you out even more, and when the beat switches up randomly throughout the track, it goes a little faster with this staccato-like flow with 2D riding the beat. So sick. From rocking electric guitars, screeching lyrics, and fast playing to slow crawling dubbed out drums and an echoed out vibe. This one is an entirely different beast from the original. Gotta admit, not a lot of 2D in this one, and it's really just a long jam session with horns, drums, and the occasional guitar line here and there. Not really bad, but it's kind of plodding and stretched out at 5 minutes. It's like 5 minutes of nothing, it seemed like. A more upbeat sounding 5/4, sounding like something out of a Guy Ritchie film. Maybe it's the filmmaker brain in me, but I can imagine one of his characters or groups of characters either smoking out to this or getting on a misadventure with it playing in the background.
Oh, and if Tom, or anyone else for that matter, feels like giving them a bit of a kicking, I'm sure it won't do any harm.
Yeah, a little bit of pain never hurt anybody, if you know what I mean. Also, I think knives are a good idea.
Definitely a sound from the early 2000s I can remember vividly. The horns are nice, the mood is early 2000s as hell, and the vibe is fun and kinda sloppy feeling. I like that. But the vocal samples are kinda used sparingly again like in D-Punk, so it's kinda just another jam track to be honest. I really like the feeling of it though, so that's got it working for it at least. Alright, I'll stop with the spacey shit because the original was already ethereal and spacey enough, but damn, this kicks it up levels, man, and it's perfect. Out of all the songs on the original self-titled album, this one is the perfect one to redub and mess around with. It's just a perfect remash of one of my favorite ambient and chill-ass songs from the Gorillaz. I mean, I even put it on my list of chillest Gorilla tracks, so this just made it even more better to me. With the added horns, sporadic keys in the background giving the mood of the song more feeling, the vocal sample being even more drenched in echoey goodness, another one of my favorites on here for sure. This is probably gonna hurt some people, but I think this one is the weakest track on this whole album. Honestly, I'd rather listen to the original. This song is so sparse sounding with 2D coming in every once in a while to sing Gravity, and while I like the guitar part in the background towards the middle to ending portion of the song, it just sounds too empty sounding. Not really a lot going on in this song, and the song dead stops like 3 minutes in for about 5 to 7 seconds it felt like. So for 5 minutes of an essentially empty, almost instrumental sounding track, I don't think this one is a good track. Sorry y'all. This one's a nice sounding mix of new genius, with a nice keyboard led track, 2D doing a lot more than previous tracks it feels like, and I like the fact that they kinda fuck with 2D's vocals, making it sound kinda pitch shifted and talkboxy at certain points. The bulk of the track has stuff happening with the instruments, the vocals from the original track, and it's just a vibey track to listen to all around. I also love the ending bass line too. Another kind of weak track to be honest. Not really a lot going on with the vocals other than the repeating of It's a Sweet Sensation by 2D being worked into a kinda whatever beat. It's kinda similar to D-Punk in that it's a mostly instrumental sounding track with horns, piano, and the occasional cowbell and echo effect. I don't know. It's also kind of a long track at 6 minutes. So 6 minutes of the same plodding beat with 2D barely being used around the instrumentation itself. It's kind of another weak track to be honest. One of my all all-time favorite Gorillaz tracks, and it's been grooved out some more. Love the piano flourishes that come randomly at times, the grooving horns, the nice-ass low bass line, and the melodica playing around in the background of the track, along with the sick vocalizations Earl 16 has around it, with U Brown coming in at the end. I really like the bass line on this one. It's so groovy and low, it makes me want to bust out my bass and jam along with it. And near the middle of the track, some woodwind instrument like a flute or something comes in and gives it another nice sounding moment. It's definitely one of the jams on here. Little Dub Chiefin closes off the album. Scott Up to Hell compared to M1A1, it's more happier sounding and grooving with the addition of Terry Hall accompanying 2D on the vocal duties. The horns blaring, the guitar doing its thing, riding around the awesome drums. It's a pretty decent ender. I think this has the best drum track on the whole project. The drums go from grooving and keeping the dub/ska beat and feeling, but then it adds in these sick drum fills to bridge into the next sections of the songs. It's kind of hard to explain, but I just love hearing the drums go from this basic dub sound it had throughout this whole project to this drumline-esque fast-paced fills. A cool reworking of M1A1 with a sick drum track and pretty cool additional vocals from Terry Hall. Nice ender. So what do I think of Laika Come Home? To be honest, I felt like I was listening to a Guy Ritchie soundtrack for a while. Like something that'd be in the backgrounds of one of his movies like Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Like if one of his characters are walking into a bar or a club trying to get their money or whatever, or if the main characters are just drinking or smoking, chilling, getting into trouble, I don't know. But these songs are all reggae'd out, spacey, and dubbed out to hell. So if you enjoy jamming to music like that, you'll love this album. But if you have no real love for 5 to 6 minute songs of horns, echoey drums, vocal samples twisted or used differently than you're used to hearing, I can see you turning this off after like 2 or 3 songs. Speaking of, the weakest 3 tracks to me were D-Punk, Crooked Dub, and Come Again. I don't know, something about them being 5 to 6 minutes of almost nothing but the backing instrumental track, coupled with the sparse use of vocal samples from 2D or the original track they were remixing, kinda hurt them to me. But all in all, a solid remix album with some pretty sick instrumentals, drum and bass tracks, and random elements that make almost all the songs on here feel fresh and unique from their original counterparts from the self-titled album. I give this album a 6 out of 10. So what would you like to see reviewed next? Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. And as always, peace.